Bam! What's up, good people? Y'all know who it is. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. Y'all didn't know, but me and Cheryl did not plan to wear our caps or the glasses or anything. It just kind of work out like that when when you all in the flow and everything. Hold on, I got my little celebration light. Woo, because it's a party, it's a party, it's a party. Oh, sure. What you eating tonight? What's up, good people? How you doing out there? What you eating tonight? You ain't eating nothing? Hold on, y'all. Look what I got.
One meal a day. One meal a day.
It's a watch party. I got me some Ritz crackers. Hold on. Wait a minute, Luana. I got my fancy cheese from Grandpa's Cheese Bar, some horseradish, raspberry. What's up, Eileen? What's up, S Speaking? Rick James is in the house. Come on through, Amani Capri. I got my drizzy drink. Sipping on rice. Get a little sloppy. I mean, it's a party, right? It's a party. And we are ready to get started. It is our 1 year anniversary. This is going to be so exciting to be able to watch the documentary with all of you guys. It's not very long. It's about what, like 38, about 40 minutes, give or take. Now, we're going to go ahead on and get started because we have the post-show talk back. We got Miss Imani Capri is in the chat. What's up, Imani? How you doing? And so she's going to be interviewing Cheryl and I afterwards. So all y'all got to do is just, stick around because we're going to come on back on the live and have a wonderful discussion. You guys feel free to, be involved. But before we get ready to show the documentary, again, a couple of shout outs to my homegirl, Miss Sandra E. She is our virtual host. Y'all never see her, but she's always in the chat. Our latest cousin, LaWanna Bennett, that's LB's daughter. LB's daughter. We got Lena that came through. We got Miss Eileen S. Speaking, Rick James and Imani. Everybody else, as you come in the chat, get ready to watch it. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button because this should give our podcast a really big boost, this live streaming. So what I want to do right now, Cheryl, is just give a couple of shout outs. And if you have any people that you want to say thank you to or give some shout outs, please make sure you say that before we get started. So first and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Latif. Mr. Latif, I hope you're in the chat watching it right now, because if it wasn't for Mr. Latif, I'm telling you right now, we wouldn't be doing this, because actually it was his idea. He said, Ladosha, you need to have a 1 year anniversary. And I called Cheryl, and Cheryl was like, Let's do it. She said, come on, what's happening? Also, she just hopped in the chat. I know it's late, Fatou. I know you probably can't stay, but of course we have to give a super duper duper shout out to the one and only, my sister love friend. That is how I address her every time. The wonderful Mrs. Fatou Saine Gaye. She is the founder of the Gaye and Joel Skills Academy over in West Africa. You will see her in the documentary. So Fatou, we know you can't stick around because it's so late there, but we have some wonderful things coming to the Wright Library. So I just want to make sure we give you a super duper shout out, because without Fatou, we probably wouldn't be able to have this documentary without Fatou. So Fatou, we love you so much. And as we say in Wolof, Jirajef, okay? So everybody, big ups to my homegirl, my sister love friend, Miss Fatou, Mrs. Fatou Saine Gaye, the founder of the Gaye and Joel Skills Academy. Her school is where the Wright Library is located. It's just a little small classroom size library, but nonetheless, it is still there. So thank you so much. Also, Cheryl, we have to thank your dad. I mean, if it wasn't for Dr. Willie Morrow, for real, I wouldn't even know you. So everybody, just I just love you, Dr. Willie Morrow. I know you're watching over us, and we're doing our best as promised, and you'll get to see a little bit more about him. Also, we do have someone at the end of the documentary who just made his transition, and that was Dr. Edward B. Jackson Jr., and he made his transition last week. So rest in peace, Dr. Jackson. He was Ohio's first African American chief of staff, and that was over at University Hospitals. He was a dynamic man, and he gave Cheryl and I much advice about the medical community. He was the one who encouraged Cheryl and I to stay on. Well, it was Cheryl's idea. Y'all know I put everything on her. But it was Cheryl's ideal that we unite with the dermatology professionals during the Afro Hair Summit. And so Dr. Edgar B. Jackson Jr. was a staunch supporter of Cheryl trailblazing and forging that wonderful, connection between licensed professionals and dermatology. So I see my questions in the chat. I see you, Danny. How you doing out there? What's up, Naomi? My BFF is in the chat. Hey, Lena. Everybody's just coming on through. So Cheryl, anybody you want to give a super duper shout out and say thanks?
All the hard work that no matter how today's natural hair care people may think about our foremothers and forefathers, it was them who gave us the vision to be able to utilize and render services that are so part of our DNA and so part of our culture. Thank you for allowing us to be able to eat and to spread pride and love of who we are as Black people on the planet. Thank you for allowing us the genius and brilliance that we inherited. And just thank you for allowing us to be able to put that in commerce and be able to be what we have known to be the world's beautiful people. So thank you.
All right. So Ashe, Ashe, and Ashe. Also to all the Reverence Design team members, and of course the RDT customers, the RDT family. How much do I love you guys? No words can capture. I see we got big ups in the house. We got our homegirl Tessa from New Orleans. Am I saying it right, Tessa? New Orleans. We miss hanging out with you, sure. We had such a wonderful time with Tessa. Though me and Tessa sometimes we be on our little creep move, don't we, Tessa? I'll be like, Tessa, wait, meet me at the. I ain't gonna tell them what we be hanging out at, Tessa, okay? Just between us. There's Mr. Latif. Hold on. There he is right there. I was hoping he would come through. He is the one and only. Everybody, super duper shout out to Mr. Latif. You can find him over on Instagram. Mr. Latif, drop your information in the chat if ever you are trying to get the word out about what you're doing in Cleveland, Ohio. He will travel, but you got to pay the man, okay? He does a wonderful, wonderful job at making sure you get the word out. And he's so dedicated to me. And I just love you, Mr. Latif, you, your wife. He has a wonderful family. He is thebomb.com. So are we ready to watch this documentary? All right. I got my hat off. Oh, look what I got for y'all. Sure, they ain't ready for this. Action! Action, everybody! Action! I said, quiet on the set, Sherry. What's up, Mr. Hunter? We got Mr. Hunter is in the chat. Everybody, big up to Mr. Hunter. That's one of our legends is in the chat. All right, it's going down. Directors, we're so crazy. Let me put you up there, Mr. Hunter. He said he was going to come through as promised. He also, he worked for Dr. Morrow shortly at the beginning of his career. So, hello, Mr. Hunter. We're so thankful to have you here. This is just turning out to be wonderful. So typically what we do when we get ready to start, I learned this when I was directing, which by the way, that is the reason why I'm this way, guys. So when you get ready to do something, you have this little clapboard, right? And you hit it. So we are going to get ready to show the documentary. Feel free to drop your comments in the chat. This is done in 4 parts. It was so much that we could not cover, but Cheryl is the co-producer, so under her direction, we have this done in 4 parts. And Daniel Hurd is our editor, and so he did the best job at putting this together. And so let's get ready to watch this. I got my little stuff here, and I think you guys will enjoy. So let me just, I got the thing up here. Let me get my little present on. Cheryl, like, you better not mess this up, Kilolo. I ain't gonna mess up, Cheryl, not this time. So here it is. Let the truth be told. Okay, guys, let's have fun in the chat. Let me make it. Can everybody see that, Cheryl?
They're gonna have to just do full screen.
Full screen? How's that?
Yep.
That's looking good. All right, let's get ready. Get y'all popcorn, and we are ready to watch the narrative.
You know, modern day African American hairstylists, we aren't typically the kind of people who would use our professional and personal experiences to create a documentary that confronts the narrative about our miseducation and misrepresentation of Afro hair. Like many African American hairstylists, I long to go home to Mama Africa, but at the same time, I wanted to represent a brand who, like me, holds the values of we are one and love, to set myself aside from all the other regular cosmetologists in the industry. But honestly, personally, and professionally, I can attest to the all too familiar African American disclosures of teasing, revisionism, hair shaming, and discrimination that remain traumatic and at times debilitating, to say the least. This trance of sorts of our constant back and forth, of our regurgitation, of our responses to these horrific, racist, white imperialistic standards of beauty is doing something I see and feel daily as an African American hairstylist and Black woman. I see what it's doing. It's like it's paralyzing our intellect, our ability to act and make judgment, like deers caught in the headlights. Our knee-jerk and visceral responses of nagging and fighting and complaining, it's becoming the demise of the Black beauty industry. Martin Luther King Jr. says, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter.
If you're not careful and you don't have historical reference, your arguments are they are the bedrock of them will be distorted in half truths. They don't have real beauty culture historical reference. Absolutely. So, but unfortunately, the Black hairstylist or Black cosmetologist has been demoted as if merely they are just technicians.
This was the first pick, actually, the only pick in the country, the only comb in the country that is patented with Morrow's name on it. But on beyond that, the pick is very unique because it was created to specifically address African American hair, and specifically Black natural hair. He wanted to ensure that, that these combs were created because a lot of the other picks and combs were not built to go through and comb.
We follow these racial constructs that was formulated to put you in a subservient position. And so science is the great equalizer.
Well, now, if science is the great equalizer, then history is the counterpoise. In the beginning, We were all but ingredients in the primordial soup from the waters deep in the center of Mama Africa.
Curly hair, Afro textured hair, is the first human hair.
As far as changing hair texture and color, that's not something new. That's not something that belongs to other people, other Europeans. That's something that people of color, people on the continent of Africa, have been doing for thousands of years.
I love anything that shines light on Black history in general, because our history is intertwined in every facet and domain of the world that we live in, particularly beauty, and we're left out of all of those. And so even if we advocate for our students to learn Black history in the US, it'd probably be centered around like wars and things like that, governmental things, but it probably wouldn't be hair focused or the other industries that Black people have influenced. And so I'm here for if cosmetology is our lane and that's our passion, then we can make it our business to share the history that we've had in the industry in our domain.
And that's what it's about. It's the narrative. It's from our perspective. Typically, when we look at documentaries, cosmetologists, we're usually the subject of it. We're never behind the lens. I don't know what I'm doing, but cross your fingers for me, Rene. So I'm doing my best to really.
Now, here's the reality. African Americans, we are America's cultural tastemakers.
This is not a trend.
It is a trend. Wendy, I'm telling you, it's a trend. The Kardashians make everything a trend.
It's a topic that's ignited furious conversation. Cultural appropriation.
I love that the urban style is transcending over to the other world.
It is currently 2022. And given the number of educational institutions, options for learning, and levels of access we have to become informed, not to mention all the various advances in science and technology, the most many Americans have to say, report, write, depict, read, and teach about textured hair here in America is what it looked like. How long it is, how thick it is or isn't, is it fake or is it real? I don't understand what is going on here. Is this some type of a hair Stockholm syndrome when it comes to us accepting our own hair?
The natural hair community was orchestrated for all hair types to embrace the natural curl pattern, no matter what it is, okay?
At no one point in time because there were Africans in Europe, just like today, Africans are in Ukraine.
Right.
There's Africans everywhere.
Absolutely.
So they were not, their features and our features are not new to them. But we're talking about where did the wheel fall off to the point where we internalized it, and now anything that comes from or looks European or what we perceive as European,
right,
now all of a sudden we're going to reverse it and say we shouldn't do it because then we're not acting Black,
right,
or we're not this, or we're not natural, or we're not this. See, that is all of the convolution of what we are trying to straighten out and get some real dialogue to change.
We had several conversations, and we know that for Ladosha, this is like the epitome of my entire career, to be sitting in front of the person, the lineage of the person that's responsible for why I quit my job.
Really?
I quit my job to become a cosmetologist because of your dad, Dr. Willie Morrow.
Genuinely loathe a lot of the people in the natural hair community for the simple fact that they are very, very misleading. They push products in order to gain profit, and many of them really don't care too much about the natural hair community.
hair braiding requirements are inconsistent. 26 states don't require licensure at all. Some states require specialty license with 50 to 500 hours of training, while more extreme states, like Idaho and Montana, require a cosmetology license.
Stay on education just real quick. There are essentially two elements that are trying to deregulate our industry. One element is big brand sort of grooming salons, right? I'm not going to name names, but imagine something you'd see TV ad for a natural brand. Well, those companies don't really feel like they need cosmetology school. They're into churning and burning. They're into getting talent, running them into the ground, and then that person might leave the industry, right? So there's that element that wants kids faster so that they can burn through them faster. Then there's another element which I don't entirely understand. It's called the Institute for Justice, and they have different offshoots. In Louisiana, it's called the Pelican Institute. But the Institute for Justice, this is going to sound conspiratorial, but just stay with me. The Institute for Justice is funded by the Koch brothers, and that's K-O-C-H. So not like the soda, K-O-C-H, the Koch brothers. And they have been really great at getting into states and allowing for natural braiding salons to be in existence without any type of regulation or oversight whatsoever. And it's a really, really clever tactic. And it's worked in almost 20 states, from super liberal to conservative. It kind of pulls on each party's heartstrings a little bit. And what it basically does is it allows for people to have a natural braiding salon where you're allowed to wash, style, obviously braid, and trim, and the legislation will say trim hair without any type of oversight whatsoever.
The notion of regulating black hair is not new. It has roots in American history.
Black hair was regulated by slave masters who shaved the hair of enslaved people of African descent as a means of control and punishment.
What do you think about the natural hair movement? I want you to, talk about it too. What you guys think about the natural, it's the Y2K, this is the new. The other natural hair movement was, the 60s, what I'm saying?
The reason for it, you might say, is like a new awareness among black people that their own natural appearance, physical appearance is beautiful and it's pleasing to them. This has changed because black people are aware, and white people are aware of it too, because white people now want natural wigs. They want wigs like this. Dig it? Isn't it beautiful?
The other natural hair movement was, the 60s, what I'm saying? So we know what that was. That was definitely a political statement, all right? But part of it. Okay? The black is beautiful for sure. But what's up with the natural hair movement of as Cheryl would call it, the Y2K natural hair movement? What did y'all think about that?
Yeah, because I feel like we kind of got lost, and now we back. So I just hope that we can get past the texture shaming.
Okay, I like that. All right, here comes the beautician. Keep it 100. We only get, it's our 15 minutes.
Keep it 100?
The pressure's on you.
Okay.
What's up with that natural hair movement?
Okay, I have mixed emotions about the natural hair movement. Most of my clients have natural hair. But after having conversations with clients and talking about their decision as to why they went natural, I think there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to using relaxers, because people are looking at it as it's damaging or it's not good for your hair, which that could be said about any hairstyle, whether you're natural or relaxed. It's all about if the person who is giving you that service is 100% trained.
Go back to the basics. We are hair professionals, so we have to look at a healthy scalp, creates healthy hair, healthy diet, water intake. Just all of these conversations need to be put back into the ears of our clients when we're servicing them. And I just want us to collectively learn how to be the example.
Now let's get into some of these laws and rules here, because we know we just had the Crown Act, and we did have a politician say you know, he didn't say this, but I'm just gonna paraphrase. Ladosha, you spend all this money on the video, you trying to do a documentary, you're not trying to pass laws around here, we got bigger issues.
The people who are avoiding the issues the American people care about are on that side. And to get lectured by you and using that is so wrong, so out of touch with the American people. Avoiding, you gotta be kidding me.
So they don't think hair is important. However, in this country, laws were real about how we could wear our hair. So with that being said, how do laws, rules, and guidelines that chooses one set of standards for beauty or acceptable over another, how does that affect or impact, particularly this white-black situation? How does that affect?
It's very important. So when we talk about cultural trauma, the studies show in order to heal cultural trauma, there has to be an element of justice. And, you know, we can do getting involved in the community, but there has to be some sort of restitution. And that's when we look through history, there is restitution for other cultures. And so passing legislation to allow Black people to be Black is restitution, that is part of healing the cultural trauma.
People having decided that they're going to be themselves, they're going to wear their hair as they choose.
We need to have that type of things put in place. There were so many laws that allow us to not be Black.
And I think that because we are always surviving, we're not really truly understanding their neurosis, their psychological, their psyche. We're not taking in consideration, because me and you are trying to survive just their physical, their visceral lifestyle in which we're interacting, called slavery. Right. So, but we have not ever tried to really deal with that this is a neurotic, psychotic kind of projecting onto other people what they probably are internally feeling. Highly coiled hair is difficult as opposed or relative to what?
I guess white people's hair.
Well, there we go again. Why does there always have to be an opposite for us to solve our own problem?
Okay, this man here's got an afro. This is an afro right here, or somewhat of an afro. It's not big, no. But they want us to wear skin hair, what they call it, high and tight. High and tight. It's not my culture. Am I right?
Morrow, he not only brought in the products and the goods, but he also did training, because there's footage where African American brothers was like, no, you can't just cut our hair. You got to cut it right. So did you wear an afro? Did you have one, or you did the high, you cut it all off?
No, I had an afro. I had an afro.
The American people have been for years told that the military leads the nation in breaking down and eliminating all vestiges of segregation.
But it should have been brought up that you're going to discriminate against somebody about their afro because society models the military. They have already done it.
I think there's also a tremendous historical ignorance, because I think a lot of U.S. leaders have no clue as to modern history.
But it was increasingly challenged by those who embrace Black power and Black pride, begin seeking freedom by any means necessary. But most fundamentally, what I'm arguing in this larger project is that the Army shifted from thinking of itself as proudly race blind, as color blind, to thinking of itself as race conscious.
Morrow traveled around the world in the 1970s, contracted by the Department of Defense to teach and cut hair on military bases and in war zones, where he wrote several books.
He had textbooks and pictures and manuals, and he did a magazine called Curly Q.
This was a reporter who wrote about the Gina curl. And every time I went through all of these sites, they kept saying that Gina was saving the Black woman from the woes of the natural hair movement. And so she's getting all this credit. So I get really upset. I'm almost like, if we let them take, she did not do this. Now there's some differences, don't deny, but the concept of rearranging, yeah, and then putting it on the rollers, all that was definitely coming out of California. And I just was offended that there was not one mention of that. They could find not one sentence to say, perhaps this is inspired by Dr. Willie Morrow.
If you don't know how wonderful you are, you're more apt to put yourself in harm's way. But they tell me also about history. If you don't know what was, you don't know what is. And if you don't know what is, you're prepared for what will be, right? And so that's why we have to get the history piece together.
The Jerry curl and the California curl was not the same curl at all.
Yo, I got like, you were gapped up and you were like, now see, that's the California curl right there.
They started running with it had to be, the curl had to be introduced by somebody other than a black person. So then they started talking about the Jerry curl. But Willie Morrow's California curl was out there way before any Jerry curl.
And this was dated in 1971. The Jerry curl didn't come out until 1978. That makes me undisputedly the founder, the formulator, the creator, the pioneer of the cold curl.
There is a disconnect in America when it comes to Black history. It is a disconnect between the reality of this history and the distorted impression many young people have today. In recent years, memes and t-shirts have appeared saying, "I'm not my ancestors." They believe that except for the occasional demonstration or revolt, all their ancestors mostly did was keep their heads low.
Okay, we've been through our antics, our movements, and now we're down to our moment of truth. And you guys know what they say about truth, right? Come on, stand with me. There is your side, my side, and then there's the truth.
Major League Barbershop, that's where we at, that's where we here. It's Major League for a reason, I'm minor league. Afro hair in barber school was kind of bittersweet. They honestly didn't teach a lot. They teach a fail-safe structure on how to cut the human head.
I don't think school prepared me at all. We didn't have any texture hair as the clients, when they came and let us work on them. They didn't have any clients with texture hair. We didn't have any lessons on how to detangle it, how to manipulate it, or anything like that.
I got 3 mannequins in my kit, and all of them have straight hair. I was just like, so there is no intention on learning hair that's textured hair. Okay. And anytime people of color come in for services, it seems that myself and my partner, like Nadia, was the other Black woman, we would get all of those clients. And the other students would either pass them off or we would just be booked them when people called in to book. I decided, man, if I want to be a real hairdresser, if I want to be a well-rounded hairdresser, I need to learn what I don't yet know. And that's why I stayed. Even if it was a space that I didn't feel represented in. But then it dawned on me, I'm just like, here I am 2 months into getting real clients from coming in the door, and not one of my white peers has made that decision for themselves. Now I went to the receptionist and was just like, hey, why are you booking all the textured guests with Rene and Nadia? Like, I want them too. At no point did they feel like they weren't getting a well-rounded education. I was aware of that, but they weren't aware of that. And that meant to me was this is what is normal to them. And what I know as normal to me is niche to them. And I was just like, their entire understanding of how to learn hair is from a white perspective. And if it stays white, then there are no alarms that go off. The only alarms that go off are for people of color because they're outside of the white narrative.
To know that you need more education, you need these reps, and I always telling you to remain teaching. And even in the ones that come to school and they get licensed, always remain teachable, always continue to go back to get there.
It's very important.
So haircutting is not a black thing.
No, it's not. It's a human thing. And that's the problem. Because they're not teaching everybody what to do. They're teaching what they think they're going to need. And you're going to need everything. That's just how it looks.
Anytime you're trying to take advantage of somebody, you tell them they don't need to learn anything. You know,
That's
you don't need to learn it. You already know how to do it. That is just so wrong.
You know you black. Black people, y'all don't need education, okay? And you say?
When you take away a licensure, you take away the professionalism and the consistency, and it's no longer a profession, and then people are going to charge nothing for something they should charge.
That's the difference in the cosmetologists today. They're younger people and they don't pledge allegiance to quote unquote one company anymore. You know, they use OTC over the counter. Yes.
Conversation about the narrative that needs to just be talked about. And so one of the narratives that we hear in hair care is that it is black and white. Black people have to do things different from white people. The difference is that it's easier for white people than it is for black people. Your experience with your hair was totally what?
My hair is not consistent. Some areas are more curly. So for me, there's no wash and go.
So you don't know that narrative?
I do not know that narrative.
So what did your mom teach you about?
Nothing. I feel like white mothers don't teach their children about hair care. They say, go take a shower, go brush your hair. There's not what happens oftentimes in like the Black community or people of color where that becomes a mother-daughter experience, right? Where you are sitting together. It is just literally go do yourself.
Do you think the natural hairstylist and boutique braiding certificate offers adequate education for natural hairstylists, braiders, and locticians?
To just give a platform, blanket access to that boutique license to all the stylists who are bringing people in and covering them under boutique. That is truly a careless thing to do because there's no way to know that these people are being trained or taught anything. And even with the boutique covering, I think that they should still do something formal in the way of state board sanitation. That is huge. That's of paramount importance. Sanitation, cleanliness, that needs to be taught on a structured level before anyone could even qualify to be covered under boutique.
So can or should African American cosmetology instructors of cosmetology, should they be approaching? I don't know.
Yes, they should be approaching because we approach the other textures. We should include the African American hair because it's not going away. We're not a people that we are disappearing.
Mm-hmm. So we know Dr. Willie Morrow. He wrote the book on this. He wrote the book on this.
I stand by him.
You stand by him.
I stand by him.
Why do you stand by him?
I said because he has so much knowledge. He was trying to share the knowledge with us, and sometimes we are so close-minded that we're not listening of what he's saying. When I listen to him, he has so much knowledge that you can't help but to sit in the room. If you ever had the experience to just sit 5 minutes with him, you were blessed. He is speaking on what we need to have.
Stopping hair breakage, knowing what hair shed, and stopping all of those issues. That is what I think Mr. Morrow's greatest.
Yeah.
Oh, now here's the thing. A lot of people here in the United States kind of feel like, we can do this stuff at home, so we don't need, any education. What do you say as the founder of the Gaye and Joe Skills Academy?
I think that is a myth, and that myth must be, it's a paradigm that must be broken. I do not believe that anybody should do hair without learning how to do it. And in Africa, there are schools, and we've attested to that, Ladosha, when you come to the Gambia, that there are schools, and they work with standards, and they work with code of curriculum.
Now, were they considered less African if they altered their hair?
No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying. There was no back and forth because someone's hair looked different. From my research, I hadn't seen no one having a disagreement, even if we look at tribes that had clans. You're an outsider because your hair looked like this because you use this chemical to straighten your hair, or you use honey and this to coil your hair, right? You know what I'm saying? And disagreements over the texture of the hair, or disagreements over the different herbs or salt or butter or animal fat or whatever they use, palm oil. It wasn't no disagreements.
Schoolhouse rock. But listen. Remember when we had this, when you were educating me, we had this conversation about, first of all, let's talk about ownership. Black people believe, and it is the truth, that we take ownership in our hair. We own it. We own the culture. We own the braiding. We learn that. This is something that we created. This is our innovation. We own it. We take ownership in it. So how can somebody else take it from us? That's one side of it. You can't take that from me because we learned that as we were growing, right? Nobody else could do that, right? As a lot of other things we've done that people can take away. But as we discussed, and you helped me in that, we have our dentists, we have our dermatologists, we have our primary care doctors. We have to have our hairstylists too, because this is a part of us. So if we don't have anybody to teach us that, then we continue to believe that we don't need extra credits, or we don't need that much education. We don't need to build our standard because we know, because it's our culture. So I'm not taking that away from Black people. What I'm saying is because we own this. We learned that ourselves. Nobody gave it to us. That's why we seem to think we don't need money.
And when we know the past, then we can change the future. So what, in your opinion, does the future of cosmetology look like for everybody, for all of us?
For all of us, it's people who decide in their life that they want to be hairdressers, to get the education on all hair types that they all deserve.
Willie Morrow was a very gifted man. He, again, was many things. In life, one of the secrets to life is understanding that you have to find your difference and leverage. And he created the hair pick, California curl, which later became Jerry curl. And he wrote or ushered in two main styles, one the Afro and the other the curl. And as a result of that, there were many millionaires and others who benefited greatly in our industry, which today is about $10 billion in the U.S. In closing, there is so much to say about the man, his life, the legend, himself and his family. But I just I'm so pleased that I've had the opportunity to share with you just briefly some of the things that I knew about him and how he made such a difference in the world we live in today.
When you put it personally, it's the safest way to put it. There was something in me, for example, sometimes, and certainly when I was much younger, which resented the assumption on which all these things are based. It assumes that you have something I want, that there really isn't on the basis of it. just looking at the evidence. Any reason for white people to assume the Negroes want to be like them? And it's very difficult. I have said in effect that white men must give up what is in effect a crutch. So must I.
Yes. I'm so speechless. I'm so happy to meet you. Yes, my whole entire career is because of you. Yes. You have liberated us in so many ways to be so profound and to be so proud and to always be open to learn and to respect our elders, to carry forth the legacy. You've done a lot beyond, what you can imagine. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Just, Cleveland. Every day, we always talk about Dr. Willie Morrow. Wow. Wow. In 2022, you're still the man. You said it's a pleasure that I come all the way here, but to be honest, it's a pleasure that you are still here. The pleasure is really all of ours. We're doing this documentary about this narrative that we have been denied. And when I met your daughter, she said to me that, we have to change the narrative. We cannot depend on other people. You agree? There are lots of changes, and the changes start with us, the newer generation, and me passing it forward to the younger generation to know that we can carry forth legacy. So there are changes. We are changing the way we learn our history. We're changing to tell the truth about the history. So we are going to do right.
My name is Victoria Webster, and I'm the owner of Blossom to Beauty Hair Salon.
I'm Edgar B. Jackson Jr., MD, clinical professor of medicine at Case Western Reserve University.
And I want you to help change the narrative.
My goal would be to advise all of our young people, especially, to help change.
This has been the narrative. It's my greatest expectation that this documentary has given us all something to think about. Hopefully, we are all enlightened, a tad bit more informed, and of course, most certainly inspired. My career as a cosmetologist was fueled by my work as an outreach worker. And I love to tell the story of my very first day in my field placement at Family Health of Beachbrook. And my then supervisor, her name was Terry Ali. And I'll never forget what she said to me as I proceeded in my career professionally as an outreach worker to help others. I'm going to share it with you guys, and I hope you will take this wholeheartedly as we venerate, we respect, and we carry forth the legacy of our elders as well as our ancestors. And her message to me was, Ladosha, always remember, you have a greater responsibility than to yourself. Ashe, my good people. Ashe. That's the narrative. Yeah, that's the narrative.
We are at Euclid Park Elementary School, and we're doing what? Helping change what? Help change the narrative. That's how it's going down. I love this school.
Absolutely wonderful.
All right. Okay. Where we at here? Absolutely wonderful. Thanks, guys. Y'all showing us major love. We appreciate you guys so much. I'm still over here. I ain't gonna lie. I just miss your dad so much. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But Dr. Willie Morrow really has done a lot for us. And we have to make sure that we say his name and we share this rich Black history. I never thought in a million years, I would meet the person who made it possible, for me to send my children to college, get out the hood. You never think you're going to meet these people. I'm telling you guys, you only get one shot. You only get one shot. So I'm sorry, Cheryl. Sorry. But we appreciate you guys very much. We're going to come back. We got a few minutes. We got about 5 minutes. And we will do the interview with Amani Capri. And Cheryl, I love you with all my heart. Fatou, I love you so much. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you guys. So stick around and we'll be back at 8. Amani, thank you so much. I see my cousin is in the chat. My Aunt Mary is no longer with us, but I'm here to tell you that fight that you always see me, that's my Aunt Mary coming through tonight, because she definitely taught me how to do that thing called activism. And my cousin is in the chat and she can testify to that. So we'll be right back. Sandra, stick around, help us out. You guys don't forget to hit the like button and we'll be right back. You know what we say, we're signing out, right? A whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and a whole lot of hair. But if you ain't got it, don't want a case, then it can't grow it. You know what we say, don't worry about that, because all that's beautiful too, and so are you. And we'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. We love you.